Hi everyone, today we're gonna look at a Leetcode problem called the shortest string that contains 3 strings. Given 3 strings A, B, and C, your task is to find a string that has the minimum length and contains all 3 strings as substrings. If there are multiple such strings, return the lexicographically smallest one. And also notice that a substring is a contiguous sequence of characters within a string. Let's check 2 examples. The first one, the 3 strings are ABC, BCA, and AAA. The result is AAABCA. You can see that the result contains all the input strings ABC, BCA, and AAA. Notice that ABCAAA also contains all these input strings, but we would choose AAABCA because this one is lexicographically smaller. The same goes for the second example. When the input is AB, BA, and ABA, the result should be ABA because ABA contains all the 3 input strings. So how to solve the problem? First, notice that we can get all the permutations of the input strings. For example, if the input strings are ABC, BCA, and AAA, all the permutations are shown in this list. Then for each permutation, we try to concatenate all the strings in it. Our result should be one of the concatenated strings. Notice that you need to remove overlapping characters between the JSON strings. For example, the concatenation result for the permutation ABC, BCA, and AAA should be ABCAAA instead of ABC, BCA, AAA. Notice that the overlapping characters BC and A are removed. The reason for removing them is that we don't need them. The problem just demands that each input string can be found in the result. During the concatenation of 2 strings, if the previous string already contains some characters of the next string, we can safely remove them in the second string to avoid lengthy results, and we also achieve the goal in this way. For example, suppose we're concatenating ABC and BCE. The concatenation result should be ABCE. Notice that we only use one BC in this example. Even that, we can still find ABC and BCE in ABCE. It satisfies the problem description. Now, using this rule, let's list all the concatenation results for each permutation here. The concatenation result for this item will be ABCAAA. The concatenation result will be BCABCAAA. This should be BCAAABC. This should be AAABCA. This should be AAABCA. So our result should be one of the 6 items, but which one? We should choose this one, or you can say this one. Anyway, they are the same. The reason for choosing AAABCA because it has the smallest length, and compared with other strings with the same length, it is the lexicographically smallest. One tricky part of the problem lies in how to concatenate the 3 strings and remove overlapping characters in them. We can concatenate the first 2 strings, then concatenate the result to the 3rd string. This way, we're always concatenating 2 strings, which simplifies our problem. But still, how to concatenate 2 strings? Let's take a look at an example. Suppose we're concatenating A, B, C, D, E, F, and E, F, G, H, the 2 strings. Our goal is to find their overlapping characters. So for this example, the overlapping characters will be E, F. Then when concatenating the 2 strings, we just remove one of the EF. So the result for concatenating the two strings would be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. But how to find overlapping characters? We can align the first character in the first string with the first character in the second string like this. Then we check if the yellow characters in the first string are the same as the yellow characters in the second string. If so, we return them as the overlapping characters. If not, we move the second string forward by one character and check again, like this. If the yellow part in the first string is still not the same as the yellow parts in the second string, we can move the second string forward again, like this. If they're still not the same, we move the second string forward again and again until we find their overlapping characters, EF. That's how we find overlapping characters. When concatenating two strings, we can remove overlapping characters in one of them. Now let's code. First, we define a list. It will store each concatenation result in each permutation. Then we call the concatenation method with different permutations as parameters to it and add its return value to the list. Let's create a method. Finally, we sort the list based on the rule provided by the problem. If two strings don't have the same length, we sort by their length. Otherwise, we sort them lexicographically. And in the end, we return the first string in the list. That would be the answer. Now let's write the concatenate method. The method has three parameters. We can just concatenate them one by one, like this. So now we need to create another concatenate method with two parameters. At the beginning of the method, we first get the length of the overlapping characters between the two input strings. Max overlapping length equals get max overlap length AB. Then we concatenate the two strings after removing the overlapping characters in the second string. Now let's implement get max overlap len method. It has two parameters, A and B. As illustrated before in the animation, we start a for loop, and the I variable in it starts from 0, which denotes the first character. In each iteration, we need to know that if the current two substrings are the same, like what I've shown in the keynote before. You can check this image. I should be 3 in this image. 0, 1, 2, 3. As you can see, we need to compare the two yellow parts to see if they are the same. If so, the two yellow parts can be seen as overlapping characters. To do that, we need to know the start position of the yellow parts in the first string and in the second string. And we also need to know the length of the yellow parts in each string. The start position in the first string is simple. It should be equal to I in our code. The start position for the second string is simple too. It should be equal to 0, as we always compare from the first character in the second string. The tricky part is the length of the yellow parts in each string. Let me add an example here, removing 2 characters from the second string. The value of the yellow parts depends on 2 another values: the remaining length of the first string and the length of the second string. If the remaining length of the first string is smaller than that of the second string, the length of the yellow parts would be the remaining length of the first string. Otherwise, it should be the length of the second string, as shown in the right example. To put it simply, the length of the yellow part should be the smaller value of the 2. To write it into code, we use int length equals math.main a.length minus I, which is the remaining length of the first string, and b.length, which is the length of the entire second string. Now we need to check if 2 yellow substrings are the same. We call same substring to do it. It has 5 parameters. The first 2 parameters are the 2 input strings, A and B. The remaining 3 parameters are the 3 values we set before. They are the start position of the first yellow substring in the first string, which is I, the start position of the second yellow substring in the second string, which is 0, and the length of the yellow part, which is len. And if the 2 yellow parts are the same, we just return length. Otherwise, we return 0 because they don't have any overlapping characters. Now let's implement the same substring method. Let's call it start1, this is start2, and this is length. We need to check if the substring starting from start1 in A is the same as the substring starting from start2 in B, and we only need to check length characters. To do that, we start a for loop. In it, we iterate I from 0 till length. Then we get the position of each current checking character. Pos 1 is start1 plus I. Pos 2 is start2 plus I. And if the 2 characters are not the same, we return false. Otherwise, we return true. Now we have finished. As you can see, the algorithm is pretty efficient. So that's our problem solution today. If you find this video helpful, please click on the like button and subscribe to it. It will be really helpful for me to continue this channel. Bye!